it's been brought to my attention this past, I wouldn't just say this last week, but this last week was a couple more people. But I would say over the last few months, there's been a constant stream of females who have brought to my attention that Lady Ford doesn't respect women.
As long as they're not too fat.
Just the fact that you said that is already something you might want to look into. And it's been brought into my attention that he has a dislike and distaste for so many different categories of women that it's virtually impossible to find women who don't fit the category of women that he doesn't consider worthwhile. Last week was a classic case that we pointed out, that if a woman, according to your own words, has sexual relations with more than one man, she devalues herself every man that she's been with.
Yeah.
And even if she's just been with one man, she's
less valuable than a virgin.
Right. She's devalued.
Yeah.
Right. She's used merchandise.
Exactly.
Right. But then when
she's been test driven.
Right. Then when Levy, we flipped it around and we talked about Levy.
Well, this means I'm more experienced. I know more techniques.
When Levy has like, is Levy a virgin? Is Levy, oh, look at me, I'm solid real estate.
I've lived a rich life.
I'm sitting on top of Malibu and I'm overlooking the ocean. I'm worth $25 million, right? No. What do we find out about Levy? He's got more women than these other women that he considers devalued. So if they're devalued, then Levy should be blamed. Oh, no. Levy's got a whole different slant when it comes to guys. And it's all of this justification and rationalization that comes from a place that females believe that you just don't respect women, period. And you've turned a few viewers off.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and these viewers said, Rabs, if you do a solo show in addition to or conjunction with, they'll tune in and they'll learn some Torah. But they just can't. They were repulsed by how disrespectful you are to women. So I wanted to first of all get your reaction to that, and then I have something else that I want to continue with that on that topic. So what is your reaction to that?
Well, my reaction to that is I think there's something to it.
Okay.
Like, I do think I have a streak of like sadism, like a streak of like hatred for women. And that's why I'm working the 12 steps in sex addiction and going to psychotherapy and working on this. So yeah, I do like to bother women a little bit, maybe hurt them just a little bit.
Right.
Just a little bit of sadism. Okay.
And I wanted to also throw in there that women said that you look at them like sex objects.
Yeah, well, if they're hot.
And it's always like, if they're hot, and it always comes back to porn, and that you just view, when you were in porn, that's how you view women, is just, we don't want to hear from you, we don't need your brains. Nobody tunes in to see the brains of porn women. It's all tits and ass. And the only thing they want to hear coming out of their mouth, is them sitting on you writing, woo, woo. Remember that one?
Yeah.
Hey, cowboy, woo, woo. This game is a blowout, don't you think? Look at this. There's nobody in the same zip code.
That was 99 yards.
There's nobody in the same zip code as him. He's just like running by himself. All right. We're watching the Monday Night Football game. Yeah. Hey, Hector's in there, and also Blev the Champ. He's a big Rabs fan. All right, we love to see you in there.
But I looked at women that way before I started writing on the porn industry. So
yeah,
the porn industry just expresses how I look at women.
Okay. Henry says we need a Jewish woman to join Torah Talks. I've suggested that we need a Jewish woman to sit here, and I think it would be great to have her debate against you, and you just like be spilling out your going on one of your things, and then she could just like tear you apart and rant all over you. All right, so there's that. So I just thought I'd bring that to your attention. Now, the thing I wanted to penetrate was, being the great psychologist that I am, I have a degree in psych, is I wanted to explore, do you think that it's possible, Levy, that, or let me just rephrase that. I think it's possible, and I want to get your reaction to this. I think it's probable that the reason why you disrespect women, the reason why you hate women, is because you hate your mother, and and women remind you of your mother, and you're trying to get back at them. You're getting revenge at them for something that your mother did to you. She failed you, and you have resentment towards her.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. The only word I'd add is mother figure, because I had various mother figures looking after me when my real mother was dying of cancer. So I would say that probably in some of those reactions I probably felt over-controlled and developed rage at women, and that's still with me 40 years later.
So that's what all this is.
Yeah.
So the imperfections that you find in women, whether they don't have good grammar, or they're a few pounds overweight, or whatever, the imperfections that you find, you go, ha, you're not perfect, you've got this, you've got that, you puzzle them. You say that they're inappropriate and they're failures and this because you're striking out at your mom.
Yeah. But, I mean, the other half of my life is striking out at my dad, so.
That's where I come in. that's the jazz I get. I get spooed on. Yeah, but the women, you're spooing on them because you're trying to get back at your mom. Okay, so at least you admit it. So identifying the problem is the first step of the 12, right?
Exactly.
All right, so we covered that. So that's what it is, ladies and gentlemen. Is getting back at this one. You'll notice in the chat room, very strange. Because Rabs has a huge entourage, a huge following of females, usually single. You'll find that in the chat room right now, chat room's filling up, it's piling in. It's all guys, Levy. You've driven all the women away.
Remember how it used to be all women?
It used to be all women, and then Levy would just pop off every week about how much the ones in the overweight need not weigh down the chat room, you know what I mean? So, if you're not hot, don't enter the chat room, and eventually, you don't see females in there. Hey, gee, I wonder why that is, Levy. Right? So, we do the stag thing here, thanks to Levy's, issues with his mother, because he's got issues with his mother. All right, so what do we got here?
Did you hear there was this Hollywood screenwriter who made all, the hookers and the dead women in his screenplays, he gave them all the name of his mother.
Oh, just to get back at her? Are you going to do that? Are you going to do that, Levy, in your porn shoot, in your next movie? Yeah. I bet you that's what you want to do. That's your ultimate. Dream. Is what? I'm going to do a movie, and it's going to be about growing up Seventh-day Adventists, and there's going to be plenty of sex in it, and doing it in the bathtub. Read his book. It's shit and giggles.
Just like to say, I love my parents. I just want to make that clear.